These are my notes. And this is my audience. My name is Addison Swisher, and I'm a senior at DeKalb County High School, and this is my demonstration speech on how to make 3 different types of slime. I'm sure we all remember as kids whenever slime first became popular. It's a DIY project that is cheap, customizable, and oddly satisfying to play with. By the end of this demonstration, I'm going to be teaching you how to make 3 different types of slime. I'm going to show you how to make crunchy slime, fluffy slime, and butter slime. Although I'm only showing you 3 different types, there are so many different kinds of slime that you can make. So at first I'm going to show you how to create the base for the slime. So this is the same base that you make when making any kind of slime. So I'm going to move this so you can see. First you're going to start with glue. I have Elmer's glue. A lot of people use just the regular white classic glue that you would have to buy for school when you're in elementary school. But they also now make, since slime's become popular, they have clear slime that you can make with clear glue, and then they also make glitter glue, so that's fun if you want to do that. I'm just going to pour some of this into this container. It really doesn't matter how much you put in, it just depends on how big of a batch of slime you want to make. As you can see, it's messy, so be careful. After you pour in your glue, you're going to put in just a little bit of baking soda. I'm literally just going to take a pinch and put that in here. I have not made slime in a long time, so it's fun to get to make it in. I'm then going to add in contact solution. Whenever you put contact solution in, it's important to make sure not to add too much, because then your slime's going to be really tough and it's not going to be fun to play with. It'll be more like putty instead of slime. So I'm going to mix this. As you can see, it takes a lot of mixing, but you just add in more contact solution and it'll eventually stick together. Ooh. So I'm adding in just a couple of drops. It's really your personal. This is the same base that you're going to make for each different type of slime. So I'm just going to keep mixing. So now I'm going to separate it. It's going to be a little bit sticky, but that's okay because we're going to add stuff in, and we can always add in more contact solution. So I'm going to put different amounts. I'm going to try to keep it about the same, and I'm going to separate it to make the 3 different types of slime. So still you can see it's kind of sticky, but that's how you want it to be since you're going to be adding stuff into it. And then I'm just going to take this extra and mix it together. It's a very messy process, which is probably why most of us were not allowed to make it at home, or if we did make it at home, it had to be like in a kitchen, or I had to be in the dining room because I would get it. So make sure when you're making this, you're on a table or somewhere where you can clean up your mess. So now that I've got the base is made, I'm going to add in food coloring to show the different, to make them each more different since they're all white. I'll open this up. Whoops. I just am going to pick 3 different colors. So this one is going to be our fluffy slime, and you just want to do a couple dots of this because that's all you really need, since this isn't a huge batch. As you can see, it's really colorful. You're going to mix it together. This shouldn't change the texture or anything like that of your slime. It's just going to make it a different color. So just 2 drops made it that bright, which is pretty. Then this one, I'm going to make our crunchy slime. So I'm going to do green. And I'm not going to use the same utensils. I'm going to keep them different. That way we don't get them confused. Let me see, I'm mixing that. And then I'm also going to do this one, which will be our butter slime. I'm going to make it red. So just one of that. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the other 2. I'm just going to mix it. Make sure that's close. and then I'm gonna mix it in here. Boom. There we go. So now I'm going to show you how to make the specific different tops. If you want to, you could just leave your slime like this, but I'm going to show you how to make the different kinds. So I'm going to start off with the blue one, which is the fluffy slime. So I'm going to kind of gather it up over here just a little bit and move these to the side. To make fluffy slime, you're going to add a little bit of shaving cream. A little bit goes a long way with this because it comes out super fast. I'm going to shake it and then just pour a little bit in here. And then I'm going to mix that. Some people also like adding in lotion to their fluffy slime, but you don't have to, that's optional. When making slime, it is honestly easier just to use your hands, so I'm going to go in with my hands instead of the spoon. And you're just going to knead it together. Like I said, it's kind of sticky, so you might need to add in some contact solution, if I can get this off my hands. Make sure not to add in too much, but just enough to make sure it's not super sticky. As you can see, it'll start to kind of unstick from my hands. See? Very messy, but it's super fun to play with. And then just keep kneading it in. I'm going to add in a little bit more from what's in my bowl and then just play with it in my hands. As you can see, the more you stretch it and move it around on itself, it'll start to stick off of you and stick to itself, which is good. I'm going to add in just a little bit more since it is kind of sticky. This is why it's important to keep your stuff with you when you're making it, because you might need to add more things, because you can always add more, but it's not fun when you add in too much and then it becomes tough. So there's the fluffy slime. As you can see, it looks a little bit softer than it did at first, and it's less sticky than it was at first, so that's fun. So there's that. I'm going to set this off to the side, and then I'm going to make crunchy slime, which is the total opposite of the fluffy slime. So this should be fun. Whenever you're making crunchy slime, you can use foam beads, you can use regular beads like I have. You can see my hands are blue. You can use regular beads like I have, or even some people will use like little plastic pieces. I'm just going to use these like bracelet making beads because that's probably what is most easy to find. And I'm just going to open this up, try not to make a mess, more than I've already made. And you're just going to open it and then slowly mix some in until it's the texture that you want it to be. Whoa. So now you're going to sprinkle in your beads. I'm just going to start with a little bit because these beads are a little bit bigger, so I don't want it to be too much. And then you're just going to mix. Again, it's easier to do it with your hands. I'm going to go ahead and add in some contact solution since the other one was a bit sticky. And you're just going to mix it together. I'm going to add in more beads. That was not enough. It's really your personal preference on how you want your slime to be. So you can add in as little or as much as you want. I'm just going to mix this in. As you can see, this texture is the complete opposite of the fluffy slime. It's a little bit more crunchy, and this slime, a lot of people know it because it is the slime that makes that crackling noise, which is fun and was really popular whenever it first became like a big thing. And then I'm just gonna keep mixing in the beads, which almost mixed in. And then you have crunchy slime. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is crackling. So there's that one. And then lastly, I'm going to make butter slime. The important thing about making butter slime is to make sure that the clay that you use is not air dry. So if you add in air dry clay, it's going to dry out your slime. It's not going to be stretchy. It's not going to be able to really move or play with, which is not what you want. So Crayola makes the Model Magic, which is what I'm going to use. This is just a basic white one, but they do make colorful ones. I'm going to start with about this much of the clay, and you just put it into your slime and then mix it in. This one, you want the texture of the base to be a little bit more sticky since the clay is so thick. It makes it easier for it to mix in. So you're just gonna do the same thing that we did for the other ones. This one we shouldn't need any contact solution. We'll just add in more clay. So I just pull it apart and then mix it in. This white might make it turn pink, which would be cool. I'm going to pinch in just a little bit more. And mix that. As you can see, this one is more similar to the fluffy slime than it is the crunchy, because they both have that smooth texture. This one is not going to be, as you can see, as easy to pull because of the clay, but it's really soft and fun to play with. So there's that one. So here are all the different slimes that we made. We made fluffy slime, which was more soft and light. We made crunchy slime, which was more crunchy and a little bit more messy, but it's still fun. And then we made butter slime. So thank you for watching. Here's my audience.